Hey guys. So the idea for this worksheet is that you don't have to do the exponent properties in any certain order, because that's what I think makes them kind of difficult. The kids always ask, like, well, what am I supposed to do first? And the answer is, it doesn't matter. So this first question, I'm going to work through this one with you, and we're going to do two different attempts where we take two different approaches, and you're going to see that we get the same answer. So let me take my first attempt. Got a lot going on here, every single property. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to move some things around. So I'm going to use, and I never remember the name, but the one where you subtract the exponents. So I'm going to do some subtraction on the x's and on the y's. I'm going to leave everything else as it is. So my next line would look like this. It would still have the parentheses. It would still be squared. It's still going to have a 3/6. But because the rule says to subtract, right? So -4 minus 3 is -7. So x to the -7th right now is on top. And then 8, careful here, minus -2 would be a y to the 10th. So I used whatever that property was called first. And now what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to simplify what's on the inside. So I'm going to simplify this 3/6 coefficient. And then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move the negative exponent to the other side. So I haven't done anything to that squared yet. So I guess I'll move my work down here. All right. So now I have a change of, loud bell, 3/6. If we reduce that coefficient, that becomes a 1/2. And then the y to the 10th isn't moving anywhere. But the x to the -7th will move down to the bottom denominator. Oops, and now it's a +7. So we're still not done, because remember the checklist was, collect all your like terms, you can't have any parentheses and no negative exponents. So we still have the parenthesis. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the squared and I'm going to distribute it to everybody. And I literally mean everybody. So like you too and you as well. All right, I feel like I need more space. Oh well, I'll make it work. So the final answer becomes 1 squared is just a 1. I'm not even going to write that down. Y to the 10th squared, remember you multiply the exponents here, so that becomes y to the 20th, over 2 squared, which would be 2 times 2, so 4, and then x to the 7th squared, we'll multiply those exponents and you get x to the 14th. So if you have a 1 in front of here, it's totally fine, but this is what I think the correct answer is. Now these are kind of cool problems because they're self-checking. I'm going to do that same problem using different order of properties, and we're going to end up with the same answer. And if we don't end up with the same answer, that means I screwed up. So we'll have to figure that out. Okay, so on this next attempt, I think what I'm going to do first is I'm going to choose to distribute everything first. Get rid of those parentheses. So I'm going to square everything. Everything. Okay, so my next line would have read, now I don't have the parentheses anymore, but I got a whole lot of other stuff, right? So 3 squared, I'm going to call that a 9. And then the x becomes x to the -8, because we multiplied those exponents, the -4 and the 2. The y is now y to the 16th when I multiply those. 6 squared, I'm going to call that a 36. And then we have x, remember, squaring those exponents too, or multiplying them by 2, I should say. So we have x to the 6th on the denominator. And then y to the -4 on the denominator. So as far as my 3 rules go, I don't have any parentheses, but I have a whole lot of simplifying and combining to do, and I definitely have negative exponents. So up to you what we do next. Maybe I'm going to move some things around. So I'm going to, actually, you know what, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to simplify. So I'm going to look at these coefficients here. These can simplify. And then I'm going to use that subtraction rule on the x's and on the y's to simplify that. So my next line would look like this. 9/36, if you math entered that in your calculator to reduce the coefficient, that is a 1/4. And then, let's see here, we're going to have, careful with the negative, so -8 minus 6 is x to the -14. So far so good. And then 16 minus -4 will be a y. 16 minus -4 is a y to the 20th. All right, I think we're there, guys. One more step. I have a negative exponent. That means that term has to move down. So final answer is, I'm going to leave the 1 off. But you can't say 1 times y to the 20th over 4, and now it's x to the positive 14th power. Looky there, same answer. So these exponent problems are a good time because you can do any property in any order. You could argue one way was easier than the other, but I don't really know if that's true. The idea is to go kind of slow and be careful, especially when you're subtracting negatives. That seems to really mess with us for some reason. All right, so now you are going to move on and do the next 2 questions, which I don't know why my cursor's not working. They're on your paper. All right, go visit that paper. Something kind of weird with this assignment. So it's going to show up a few different places. So on Google Classroom itself, I would like you to actually upload it into like the Turn-In, like attach a picture of it. You can do that through your Chromebook. Just attach the picture of your work at the bottom, okay? You don't need to put my work. And then you're going to use that same picture when you go to talk about these problems on your slide that's in your tracker. Okay? Good luck, everybody.